First off, I want to give a thanks to the NEO team and also specific to the Moonlight Project for sponsoring this awesome event where we're going to have interviews with all the major founders and key people for the NEO ecosystem. So join me in the next couple of hours as we begin to stream across various channels, Crypto Love, Chico Crypto, we have Young Investor, Young GLT, and we also have my channel where we're going to be going through all the main ones, and we're going to start the kickoff for today with THEKEY, Ken Huang, which is the key advisor, chief architect for this project. So first of all, welcome very much, Ken. Appreciate having you here. Thank you. So Ken is the chief technical advisor for THEKEY, so I want to ask a couple of questions here. So Ken, can you tell us a little bit about THEKEY? What specifically is THEKEY and what do they do?
So THEKEY is based on a technology called blockchain-based multiple dimensional real-time dynamic identity verification. So trying to actually provide a foundation for both public chain and the private chain, a identity layer. Maybe I will keep the answer a little bit shorter, but it's what we view currently in the chain, public or private chain or consortium chain. There is a missing link, is the identity layer, which could have be a next killer app. And I will actually, this afternoon, it is 4 p.m., it is a NEO conference, I will talk more about that.
Awesome, thank you for that. So just for those of you guys who have never heard of THEKEY, a couple of fun facts about them. They are basically going to be a digital identity asset tool for digital currencies, and currently they have about 23 copyrights, 13 patents, and they have already 260 million people in China. So moving on those facts, let's talk a little bit about the token specifically, Ken. Can you tell us a little bit about how the token economics works for THEKEY, and how is it going to work in this ecosystem for digital identity specifically, and having people get that in and incentivize them to use that token?
Very good question, thank you. So our general view, first maybe our general view of why token is needed in a decentralized trustless system. And then I will talk about how the token will be used in the THEKEY project, some aspect of it. So what fundamentally we view the decentralized trustless system, for that to work, you need a token. So the token can play 3 crucial roles in this token economy or in the decentralized world. One is a smoother, like it's making the transaction more smooth. If you have to using fiat, like maybe most people know Fabric, Hyperledger Fabric. It is a consortium chain mostly used. It does not need a token, but in order for you to do the transaction, you have to using the fiat. Then you have to have the bank involved. For cross-border trade, you have to use SWIFT. So it's make it more like, once you have SWIFT involved, you have the like T+1 or T+2. There is a delay. So it's not frictionless. And with token, it make the transaction more smooth. This is one. The second one we view as the whole ecosystem, the key or the NEO or the project is a organic ecosystem. For organic ecosystem, you need the blood. The blood is to circulate. So we're thinking the token is a blood. So, and the third, I will move faster. So the third, we think it's a glue. It's a glue by using the incentive, the glue, the parts, every participant in this ecosystem together. So these are 3 crucial components. So every government, they want to ban those kind of things. I think they just do other countries a big favor. So this happened in the past with the red flag law in UK. I will talk about maybe this afternoon. Eventually, the automobile industry happening in other countries, in US, in Germany, not in UK, right? So it's a similar thing happening now. Some country ban it, So it's do big favor for other country. So this one, but why we need this in, I move fast, okay? Why we need this in our the key system? Maybe some of typical use case. As a consumer, you can using the key to purchase for identity fraud verification or protection, or you can use the token to purchase the product from the service provider. And as a service provider, if they want to use your identity, they have to pay. They have to pay, right? For your identity. It's self-sovereign identity. And also, identity provider, they can get the token by validate your identity. So it's just a high level way you.
So Ken, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this idea of identity. So it seems like everybody right now has issues with looking at records. In terms of your use cases specifically, where do you see the key being used specifically in what industries that would potentially be using for identity verification or perhaps reducing the paper load? Because as I was reading the paper and I was reading the project, it seems like you have a really good value proposition for places where records would be used, where basically you could travel to different countries and verifying some documentation. Is there anything that you are working on in industry specifically that you think the key would really shine in terms of its use?
Yeah, so the first generation of the key product is already in use, is on the health insurance. So if you go to the doctor office, you just need to use this app, and then you don't need to file the claims. All the reimbursement or the cost goes through the insurance directly, go to your wallet, right? So this is the first product. So fundamentally, we think the use case has a different level of authentications or validation. Some use case, like you go to shopping, you just need to give them your home address, your phone number, that's it, right? But if you want to go to the hospital, they need to know a little bit more. But also there is difference. So we are building a kind of a smart contract layer to validate the service provider what kind of information they can obtain or not. Like if you are a shopper, you cannot ask for medical history.
That's correct.
Right? If you are medical doctor, they may not ask you, are you on the flight list, or they cannot check this, right? So if you board the airplane, so that's a grand vision. It's eventually, that's the future we are talking about.
Absolutely.
Right?
So to just kind of make sure we are aware, the Key has already established key relationships in China specifically. That's actually where they're beginning to roll out their blockchain. They have partnerships with China Unicom, China Minsheng Bank, and also China RF. When we're talking about these industries, Ken, what do you see your growth potential going forward? Is China going to be your primary market, or are you planning to move into the other countries to begin to tokenize and begin to expand your operations, or is that something where you're only focused on local governments or local areas?
So there is some opportunity for now, mostly in China, but also I talked with one of the founder of the Key. He mentioned that potentially Singapore government was also talking with the Key, that it's not formalized yet, right? So we cannot say it's a project start, but there's a possibility. The underlying technology can be used, leveraged everywhere. It's the market, the data. So eventually, what I'm envisioning is we have the Key project, which have in China and also in US and also in Singapore, but it has to be operated, maintained within the territory. It's because of the law, like in Europe, you have the GDPR, right? The General Data Protection Regulation. In US, you have HIPAA law, HIP, right? So the health and also FISMA, all this. So you have to obey the policy and the regulations or privacy laws. And in China also, they have privacy. It's not in law yet, but it's lots of discussion, lots of draft on this. So
thank you. Thank you very much. So just to kind of, one last question, Ken, if you could say in one sentence, why should people buy the Key token and why should people be interested in your project? If someone were to say, one or two sentences, what would you say to that, to those people?
Yeah, so I usually don't advise
Yes.
for buying any tokens, anything. So my actually low is maybe I forgot. Like I used to work at Huawei as its blockchain architect, and my low is always on the technical and the security and the performance side. And when I look at this project, I also look at from this angle and also from the token economic, because I truly believe this token-based economy or decentralized economy. So I will go from this point. And then lots of people ask me, can you recommend this? I said, for this, actually, you need a financial analysis license. I don't have the license, so I cannot. So I will not say you should buy or not. I just provide you a vision. So.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying. Not financial advice. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Ken, for the background. I really appreciate you having you here today. All right, guys. Thank you very much. This is CryptoBud out.
Thank you.